Y'all, it is Friday. It is December 6th. I do believe right now Karine Jean-Pierre is in the middle of a press meeting. I think Associated Press is playing it live, and it has to do with the pardoning of Hunter Biden. They're finally having this big conversation, and she was talking about how Joe Biden really wasn't going to pardon him until this weekend, and then he was having some conversation with I don't remember if she said senator, congressman. I don't know who she said. I try not to really listen to her. I'm not a huge fan, honestly. But she was talking about how he was having this conversation with somebody and then suddenly randomly decided to pardon his son. And then she was talking crap. She's like, Associated Press, because that's who I think asked the question during the press conference. She said, you guys asked your audience what they thought of Joe Biden pardoning his son Hunter, and 65% of the people said they would pardon their children also if given the opportunity. And I'm like, ma'am, there's a big difference between what most of our kids will do or have done in life versus what Hunter Biden has done and will continue to do in life. It's not the same thing at all. And also, if you're looking at a poll from Associated Press, you're looking at a bunch of lefties who said they would pardon their kids. It doesn't work like that. Anyway, just wanted to bring that to your attention because they are having the conversation on it. I don't know if it's still going. I left it. I don't really care. I do notice we are still backwards here. YouTube doing YouTube things with the live stream. Only uploads seem to go the correct way. I don't know why YouTube is back to this. They didn't do this they did not distort live streams until the election campaign era. That's the wrong word. Like the month or two leading up to the election, they flipped all my live streams backwards. And then as soon as the elections were over, everything was perfectly fine. And now, talking about Joe Biden and Hunter Biden and the murder of Brian Thompson, the CEO of United Healthcare, suddenly my live streams are flipped again. It makes me think these are topics that they're hoping won't really get a ton of traction, because a lot of people don't like to look at stuff if when I'm showing you things on the computer, if it's going to be backwards and stuff, a lot of people don't like to watch it. So I'm assuming that YouTube is trying to kind of throw a wrench in the middle of things, but you know what? It's not working because you guys are here. So thank y'all for being here for this. A lot of random stuff that I want to talk about today. One of those things being Joni Ernst in Iowa and why she is pushing so hard to keep Pete Hegseth out of the his appointment by Donald Trump. Lots of information to go on. And the newest with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris has been seen again. She came out talking, which was a horrible, horrible idea. And then we also have the new meme that's going around of who the shooter is of the Brian Thompson, and they've put Hillary Clinton's face on the hooded figure. We also have, I'm trying to remember my thumbnail, y'all. I put a bunch of crap on it, and I know. Oh, and the fact that Schiff has just resigned, but that's going to be an interesting one too. So thanks for being here. Number one, I hope you guys are having a fabulous Friday so far, that the rest of your Thursday yesterday went well. I don't know what you guys have planned for the weekend. Hopefully it's something good. I will say it is cold as crap. I can't feel my fingers because I refuse to turn the heat on in my apartment right now. Have y'all seen the cost of a kilowatt of electricity? No, not turning on the heat. If you're cold, you put on socks, 2 pairs of pants, 4 sweatshirts, and a beanie, and you stand in front of the oven for a second if necessary, but I'm not turning the heat on. I refuse. Woke up this morning and it was a 29-degree wind chill, so it felt like it was 29 degrees out here in Florida. I was like, guess what? Put on another sweatshirt, wrap yourself up in a blanket. Don't care, not turning the heat on, because in 2 more days, it's going to be back to 76 degrees. Bipolar weather. Weather manipulation, but bipolar weather either way. All right, let me get to these bookmarks of stuff here so we can jump into all the good stuff. Where do we want to start? Let's start with Joni Ernst, the Republican, the rhino, Republican in name only. She is the biggest rhino I've seen. I'm sure there's plenty of others, but based off of everything that's going on right now, I would definitely say she is high up on the list. According to Libs of TikTok, they posted this up yesterday. It says Senator Joni Ernst, Republican, voted to confirm Lloyd Austin for Secretary of Defense, who turned our military into a woke laughingstock, but is refusing to say if she will confirm Pete Hegseth. We already know that she's against him. She has been very vocal about the fact she is against Pete Hegseth, and I'll explain why in a second. The interesting part is she supported the trash in the military, but doesn't support a strong conservative who will strengthen our military and hold the DC war machine accountable. So this is, in case nobody knows, this is Joni Ernst right there, right? masculine, attractive woman. I don't know if she's handsome. I don't know if that's the right word to use, but she makes a handsome woman. But here's the thing with her. If I can find the other part that goes with this, she has been pushing back against Pete Hegseth being the Secretary of Defense, I believe it is. And I swear it's because she wants the position herself. Like that may be a thing. She's up for re-election, I believe, in 2026. So that may be something. It seems like she wants the spot, which would be followed by, like she seems to want to be the Secretary of Defense, and then would be followed likely by board or corporal officer slot on some big defense contractor, right, for a mega salary. The reason I'm bringing this up is because Pete Hegseth wants to put an end to whatever wars are going on. He doesn't want us to have to go to war. He also wants to strengthen the military and get rid of all the trans people in the military. Whereas Joni Ernst is fully on board with transgenders being in the military. And the ammunition that's being made right now, a lot of it's made in Missouri, but there's a ton of military being made in Iowa. The same ammunition that's being sent to Ukraine. So if we have Pete Hegseth come in, and between Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth, they work together and they shut down the Ukraine-Russia issue. They say, we're not going to be part of this. We're not going to be part of any of these things. Well, there goes the government paying the Iowa plant money for this ammunition to be used in these military things. That hurts Iowa, right? That hurts Iowa, even though it is a government-owned and controlled location. It still hurts the state if they don't have those millions upon millions of dollars coming in for this ammunition to be sent out, right? So of course she does not want somebody like Pete Hegseth to come in who is going to do what needs to be done to keep the trans people out of the military, because honestly, you don't need to be in there. And I don't care if people agree or disagree on that. It's my personal opinion. And then also you have her not wanting this whole war to stop. So I'm sure she's named as a Republican, but it would not surprise me if she had gone out and voted for Kamala Harris on November 5th, knowing that if Kamala Harris had won the presidency, she would have stayed in the same shoes as Joe Biden and kept all of this stuff going on with the money laundering through Ukraine, because birds of a feather, right? That's how it goes. Birds of a feather flock together, all that stuff. And Kamala had already said she wasn't going to change anything Joe Biden had done. She agreed with everything he'd done over 4 years, that she had a hand in everything he had done. So of course, there was no reason to believe that if she had been named president, that anything would change when it came to all of the money that was going to Ukraine and all these other issues, right? So now you have, again, Joni Ernst, who is all about keeping Pete Hegseth out. And I want you to hear what she had to say here. Let me close this down. Benny Johnson posted this up almost yesterday. And this is Senator Joni Ernst demanding the U.S. military enlist transgenders to serve because we need transgender talent in the U.S. military. Now, let me explain to you one thing here. We don't need transgender talent in the military. What she's about to say here, I agree with one small aspect. And let me explain. She said that if somebody is skilled at something and we could use them, we should take them. And I agree with that until a point. If that skilled person also has some sort of mental illness where they believe that they are in another person's body, we don't need them in the military. If you're that mentally deranged to think that if you have a penis that you're a woman, or if you have a vagina but you think you're a man, we don't need that sort of mental illness in our military. I do not want that person supposed to, cover my back and keep me safe, let alone somebody I may care about or my whole platoon or anything else. No, not a good look. So this is what she had to say though about it. I want you to hear, and then you guys can make up your mind if she's batshit crazy or if she's making some sort of sense.
So the example of transgender people serving in our military. We have transgender people serving in our military. They will bleed red just as the rest of us.
They'll tell you they'll bleed purple, though.
I also take a stance that we should not be integrating transgender people into certain situations where it does make, if you have a female barracks and you have a transgender woman who is not transitioned, we shouldn't make the rest of the unit uncomfortable about that setting.
Real quick, let me just pause this. So she says we need transgender people in the military, but then she also says that if you're not fully trans, that you shouldn't be in the barracks of the people that you're saying that you are trans with. I don't even know how to phrase this. None of it makes sense. right? None of it makes sense. You can't say that you're for transgender anything if you have stipulations to it. You're either for it or you're against it. I'm 100% against it. I have no, this is okay if this is this. No, I'm 100% against it, right? Personally, that's me. That's how I feel, based off of science, based off of religion, based off of mental health, based off of just a little bit of everything, right? But for her to sit there and say that we need transgenders in the military, but if you're a woman, okay, let's figure out how she was phrasing this. If you're a man who is a trans woman, which again, playing dress up, if you're a man who thinks he's a woman, unless you have had your twig and berries removed, you should be in your own barracks, because you can't be in the men's barracks looking like a woman if you're wearing full makeup and, tucking your junk and taping down your boobs and stuff. You can't be in the men's because that's weird, but you also can't be in the women's because you still have twig and berries, you still have junk, and it's not okay. So what she's saying is they should have their own space, basically transgender segregation, okay? That they should have their own barracks. Now, here's the question. When I as a woman say that if you're a trans person, you should have your own bathroom, stay the hell out of mine, I get looked at sideways. But this woman here, she's looked at and they're like, oh yes, no, Joni Ernst makes a good point. She's a Republican and she's great for all of us and she's a senator and she's doing the best she can for Iowa, and I agree with her. Why? Why would you agree with her but not with me? Why is it okay for her to say that trans people, technically she's saying trans people shouldn't be allowed in the places that they identify with? She's saying they should have their own little cubbyhole, which is what I do agree with on that. Okay. Again, this is a very awkward situation because I agree with some of this stuff that she is saying. I think if you think you're transgender or you think you're in the wrong body, you should not be in the same space with the sex that you are or the sex that you want to be, because none of it makes sense and it's not going to work out well no matter what. Have your own little space over there. Go to your own little corner and call it done. But it does not change the fact that a trans person should not be in the military. And y'all may hate me for this one, but I agree with Pete Hegseth where he says women should not be on the front line. I know it sounds wrong. I know as a woman, I'm supposed to be girl power, woman power, all this stuff. A girl can do anything a man can do, but I don't believe that a girl should do everything a man can do. Girls and women and men are supposed to have differences. It's what makes us unique. If a woman can do everything a man can do and a man can do everything a woman can do, where is our uniqueness? What sets us apart from each other? What gives, masculinity and femininity, that sounds weird, their separation? It's all one thing if we're all doing the exact same thing. So I don't think we should. Again, it also comes down to the fact that most men are going to put the safety of a woman above themselves. So if you have two men and a woman on the front line, those two men are going to focus on keeping that woman safe as opposed to keeping everybody safe on that front line. So again, it's a hard topic, but anyway, I have digressed as normal. I apologize. Let's keep listening to this batshit crazy rhino.
There are certain accommodations we can make for that transgender individual. But if they bring value to our unit, if they have specialties that we can use, especially if we want to maintain an all volunteer force, we want to bring that talent into our services. And I know that's controversial, but again, I'm looking at what's good for our nation. And believe me, when we're facing a recruiting challenge right now, if people are physically willing and able to serve our country, we want them to do so.
Do you think she understands why we're facing a recruiting challenge right now? We are facing a recruiting challenge right now because women don't want to join the military and have some dude in their barracks that's dressed up like as a woman. And men don't want to join the military and have some woman who is pretending to be a dude in their barracks. And also because they don't want to fight for a government that does not give two shits about them. If at any point in time, somebody wanted to join the Army, the Marines, the Navy, the Coast Guard, the everything else that's out there, the Air Force. I can't remember every single thing. I tried to, but I always miss it. Space Force, whatever. If anybody wanted to join that, I'm pretty sure that in 2021, 2022, it would have completely changed their minds when Joe Biden and Kamala Harris mandated that if you did not get a certain jabby jab, that you were no longer allowed to be in the military, that you had to leave, even though there was no scientific proof that what they were going to put into your body was going to do anything besides hurt you or whatever else. But they kicked you out of the military, dishonorable discharge, because you would not do this one thing in your body, right? That should be enough for people to say, why would I want to join this and fight for a country who the first chance they get, they're going to step all over me, crap all over me. Okay. I can understand why people feel that way. Also, why do you want to join the military to fight a war that we don't belong in, that we have anything to do with? There's no reason why we should have men and women going to Ukraine. There's no reason why we should have men and women fighting in the Israel, Pakistan, Gaza, all that stuff. We should not be fighting with Ukraine and Russia. We should not be fighting, China, Taiwan, North Korea, South Korea. None of these things should we be in. Anyway, I digress. This woman, the whole reason she is pushing back against Pete Hegseth at the end of the day comes down to transgenders and money. And like I say every single day, it is always about the profit, and the most profitable thing under the sun is war. And again, Iowa makes a ton of ammunition for war. Joni Ernst is in Iowa. Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth together are very bad for money for Iowa and ammunition. So that's that part there I wanted to bring to your attention. Speaking of Pete Hegseth, let's listen to JD Vance real quick because stop. I do love me some JD Vance. I'm not even gonna lie. I think JD Vance gives off zaddy vibes. That's what we're gonna go with. Not daddy vibes. That's weird, but because he's got a little gray or whatever, we're gonna go with zaddy vibes. But I want you to hear what he had to say when it comes to, I'm pretty sure this is the correct one that I saved about Pete Hegseth. Let's see.
Pete Hegseth is going to get his appearing before the Senate Armed Services Committee, not a sham hearing before the American media. We believe that Pete Hegseth is the right guy to lead the Department of Defense. That's why President Trump nominated him. We're not abandoning this nomination. We're not going to make it easy for people to allow them. Our Secretary of Defense is Donald J. Trump, who just won an election by a very significant consent of the United States Senate. That's who determines who the Secretary of Defense is. I fully support Pete. I think Pete's going to get confirmed, and we are completely behind him. I have talked to Joanie. I've talked to a number of my colleagues about this nomination and about other nominations. All I'm asking is that people actually allow the Senate process to work. We do not determine important government officials based on anonymous sourcing from the American media. We determine who our officials are through the nomination process, the advice and consent process of the United States Senate. That's how it should happen, and that's how the president's nominees are going to work through this process.
So that's that. JD Vance has spoken, and that is what matters. So Joni Ernst can have a whole seat and shut the hell up. So that was important to me, that where he says, it's not going to be, media is not going to determine if Pete Hegseth is going to get this job. It will be determined outside of that, because the media, of course, it's mainstream media. It's the lefty media that are dragging him and trying to bring up all these things that either are true, aren't true, maybe have some truth to them, but aren't really, like, whatever. Everything gets kind of put into this pot and mixed around, and makes it very hard to determine what is fabricated, what is real. So paying attention to mainstream media is never good for any important topic. On top of that, y'all, I just wanted to show you this. There's absolutely no reason for this whatsoever. But look, they make fun of Donald Trump and his hair. Like when he gets out in the wind and it gets a little windy and his hair does that weird floppy thing that it does. This man looks friggin' crazy. He looks crazy. He looks like he stuck his finger into a light socket. And I'm like, which Joe Biden is this? Is this number 1, 2, 3, or 17? I don't even know. It cracked me up when I saw it. I don't even know why it cracked me up, but Joey something or other said, what are they doing with his hair over in Africa? it cracked me up, and I just wanted to show you guys because I thought it was funny. Anyway, there's, again, no point behind that whatsoever. The other thing I wanted to show you, lots of stuff. This one here being the breaking news that Laura Loomer posted. Anti-Trump Democrat Congressman Representative Adam Schiff, top client of Judge Merchan's daughter, side note, he has resigned from Congress so he can get an early start on running for the U.S. Senate in California. So there's that. This is his resignation letter. It really doesn't say much. This is a view of it. Again, it's backwards, you know, YouTube doing YouTube things. But it says here, it's to Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House. Dear Speaker Johnson, please see the attached letter of resignation from the U.S. House of Representatives effective December 8th, 2024. So in 2 days, Adam Schiff is going to be deuces out. He will be gone. And that is an interesting move at this point in time. U.S. House update said at 10:52 this morning, the House received a communication from Representative Schiff wherein he resigns as a member of the House of Representatives effective December 8th, 2024. Now, again, if he's leaving, that means somebody's going to take his place. Somebody else has to come in. How does this work? Does a Democrat automatically get replaced by a Democrat, or is there a vote on who comes in next? I'm still learning. So bear with me on this. I don't know what happens when somebody resigns from their seat like that. So I would assume there has to be another nomination. There has to be some sort of voting in, or is this something that sitting president gets to just pick? You guys probably know a little bit better than I do on how that all works. So I'd love to see what your answers are here. But that was important. I thought was very important to mention to you guys about what was happening. Also, Donald Trump won Patriot of the Year at the Fox Nation Awards last night. So y'all are saying the governor picks. Okay, so the governor of whatever state that Adam Schiff was from will be the one to pick who replaces him. That's how it works, correct? I guess that makes sense because when Matt Gaetz and Marco Rubio were picked by Donald Trump for whatever parts they were going to be. Everything is mushed together in my brain at this point. I know Ron DeSantis was talking about who he was going to replace one of them with, and the other one had to have a special, what's the word? Nominations? No, that's not it either. Y'all, again, I'm learning. It's very hard for me to figure out exactly how this is going. So Gaetz resigned out of the 100 and whatever. What is it? The 118th is the one coming up, or the 116th is the one coming up. Either way, he resigned out of his seat so he could say yes to the nomination from Trump. And then he was like, oh, maybe not on that nomination. So who knows where he is now? And then DeSantis said he was going to appoint a new person, and people were like Lara Trump. They wanted, who else did they want? There was somebody else that was being named to move into Matt Gaetz's spot, but I don't remember how it went. Special appointment, that's the word I was looking for. Thank you. But anyway, this is a video from last night. I'm not going to play the audio or nothing, but this is Donald Trump being, hello, play. I guess that's just a paused picture. That's not helpful. Being named the person, what did they call it? Honorary Patriot of the Year, President Donald J. Trump. That was kind of cool, right? Like, I don't even know if that's something that's new. It's kind of the Trump dance, but not really. It's like a new special version of it, right? Normally it's this kind of thing. That one was this one. But either way, he was named the Patriot of the Year. And I believe that is Lee Greenwood singing the famous song that Trump loves. Let's see. 'Cause there ain't no doubt. Yep. I can't play it because it'll get copyrighted because I don't have music paid for on my channel. But either way, that was kind of cool. I just thought I'd mention that to you guys because, again, little bitty things. Where is the one I want to show you of Kamala? Here it is. Are y'all ready for this? Are you ready for this? Kamala Harris makes her first public appearance since losing the election. I'm only going to pay 25 seconds of this. I think there's a longer version of it, but this will be enough. Y'all ready? You ready? Let's take a little gander. It's 25 seconds of her voice. We'll be okay. It will be fine. Ready?
I knew y'all were in town. I couldn't let it go without coming by to say hello. And want to say thank you to everyone here, all of these extraordinary leaders. I wanted to come by and say happy holidays, Merry Christmas, happy Kwanzaa, happy Hanukkah, whatever you may celebrate. But most important, let's make sure we celebrate each other. I knew y'all weren't.
First things first, bitch is tipsy. She is drunk. She has drunk talk, number one, like super drunk talk. We have seen her throughout the whole last campaign trail. The difference between slurry Kamala and no drinky drink Kamala. This is shooting the shots, drinking the Miller High Life ahead of whatever this is for NBCSL. I don't even know what that stands for. I'm not even going to pretend like I do. But what I also thought was absolutely amazing, remember that viral video of her saying, "How dare you say Merry Christmas? How dare you say Merry Christmas when we have all of these illegal immigrant children who aren't going to have a Christmas because they don't have money and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah," whatever other shit she said. But now it's happy holidays, Merry Christmas, happy Kwanzaa, happy Hanukkah. Oh, now we're inclusive? Now we're inclusive? Now we can say Merry Christmas? Too little, too late, ma'am. You already lost. You're not gonna sway anybody over to your side now that you suddenly want to say Merry Christmas. Where before it's, how dare you say Merry Christmas? I guess when she gets tipsy, she forgets that she's angry and not supposed to say Merry Christmas. So that's Kamala. Now here's the stuff I was looking for on Joni Ernst. Do you know what state supplies billions worth of artery shells to Ukraine? You guessed it, Iowa. I was looking for this whole thing and I couldn't find it. Ernst provides oversight to USAID funds to Ukraine. This is November 15th, 2023. She's providing oversight. All right. And then totally forgot I sent myself an email about it too. Hello, Michelle. It's like it's your first day on YouTube. So I just Googled Joni Ernst, Iowa ammunitions. And the first three things that came up: Joint Munitions Command, or the jmc.army.mil, October 16th of this year. IAAP, which is the Iowa Army Ammunition Plant, is housed on 19,000 acres with 767 buildings, 271 igloos, and storage capacity of 1,100,775 square feet, and it has 143 miles of roads. You know what happens to all of that if we're not making the ammunition because we're not shipping it off to somebody in war, or we're not going to war ourselves? What happens to all that space, right? Those people who work there. So if Joni Ernst was really doing what she's doing because she cares about the employees or the people that are getting paid to work, then that's one thing. But I'm pretty sure it's about the money that goes in the pocket. So this is from the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency. Announcement, American ordinance is responsible for the day-to-day operations of the Iowa Army Ammunition Plant. Nope, that's not important. IAAP is a government-owned, contractor-operated by American Ordnance ammunitions production, meaning load, assembly, and pack facility in southeastern Iowa. Government-owned. So again, like I said before, all of these things that are government-owned is all about that money laundering. The government stays in war. The government gets the come on, Michelle, the bid for whatever, and then they turn around and give it to one of their own companies that they own, and then that way the money is staying in circulation in the government, right? It's a way to siphon money around. That's all it is. And of course there's kickback to a little bit of here, a little bit of over there. But the whole Joni Ernst and Pete Hegseth thing, it does not come down to anything besides transgender and money. Just remember that at the end of the day. All right, back to where we were. Please hold. I've lost my spot. It is fine. I will find it. We did that. That's fine. Go away. LPGA. We'll get to that in a second too. Oh, speaking of senators, Republican Tennessee State Senator Ken Yeager arrested for driving while intoxicated. Here's what's funny. It's not really funny, but he pissed himself while trying to do his sober walk. You guys want to see this video? This is his field sobriety test. It's 1 minute and 30 seconds long. We don't really need any audio. But if you look right there in the middle, the man has clearly, I don't know if he's standing there peeing currently, if this is post-pee. That is a police officer who's trying to get him to just take a couple steps in a straight line. But he is so schmammered Kamala Harris style, I guess, that he can't do it. He's just standing there, rocking back and forth, pee running down his legs. You have got to be real far gone to wet your pants in front of people. Like by yourself, still weird to me, but in front of people, he is so incredibly gone. He has not moved a single step. Not a single step has been taken, but he's trying to, oh, there was that step. That was the step of, I'm going to fall over sideways. He took a step. The pee's probably warm, but maybe the air is making it cold. There he goes. That's a struggle. That is a struggle to walk in a straight line. Almost had it. And no, we're done. Can't quite get there. Republican, Democrat, doesn't really matter to me. If you were that, oh God, y'all, the back of the pants. They're like two different colors because it's so much pee. That's a lot of alcohol he has running down the back of his leg. I don't care who you are. If you get that drunk and get behind the wheel of a car, you immediately should go to jail and stay there. I don't even know how long. Drunk driving is despicable. Absolutely disgusting, selfish behavior. If I have more than one drink, we don't go anywhere. If my husband has more than one drink, we don't go anywhere. If we are out having dinner and we have one or two drinks, we sit there for like an extra hour and we overtip our waiter so that there is nothing in our system by the time we leave, right? This right here is beyond selfish. To drink to the point where you piss your pants is unacceptable behavior. And this isn't something that's brand new. There's no way he just accidentally overdrank. I can guarantee you this man has a history of overdrinking. I don't know who he is. I'm not in Tennessee, but I can guarantee if you look him up, there's going to be way more instances of him somewhere where he might have been tipsy, may have been drunk, may have been whatever. Because there's no way that's the first time. Oh, anyway, let's see. What else do we have? Breaking. Oh, Jesus. Okay. Breaking. U.S. Department of Agriculture has just announced and issues order mandating, y'all, bird flu testing on national milk supply. Bird flu milk supply. Bird milk. You know where milk doesn't come from? Birds. So, we talked about this months ago. Maybe it's even last summer. We talked about the bird flu with them having to kill all the chickens, which again, never saw a single bit of proof of it. Then we talked about them talking about bird flu, and this is why they were raiding the Amish farms and saying you couldn't drink unpasteurized milk or any of that stuff because of bird flu. Okay. Then there was the bird flu has somehow jumped to the cows, so you got to be careful, and now it's jumping to the people. So now you have to be really worried about everything. But do you though? Or is this just another thing? Because now there's this new thing called, what's it called? Bovier. I don't know how, Bovear. Bovier. I cannot remember how it's spelled, but it's this new enzyme that they're putting into cow feed, into animal feed, that is supposed to, get this, make them fart less. All right. They are putting it into the feed to make them fart less because the methane from cow farts is what's destroying our entire world, obviously. So now they're putting this into the feed of cattle, and it's in a couple of different states here in the US already, but they're putting it into the dairy cows. Okay. Putting it into the dairy cows, not your regular meat eating or the cows you eat for meat, but it's the cows you drink the milk from. So they're putting this stuff into the feed for the dairy cows. And now suddenly they need to start testing bird flu of the national milk supply. It doesn't sit right with me when they start doing all this stuff. It does not sit right with me at all. What I hear is if they're going to start testing something, they're going to start mandating. I'm guessing this is not fact. This is my opinion on this, my thought process. They will now start mandating that all dairy cows get a bird flu vaccine, because they have made it. They made the vaccine for bird flu a couple months ago because one human, they said, tested positive for bird flu. One human, they said, tested positive. Although they've also said that humans can't get bird flu. It doesn't jump from birds to humans and all this other stuff. They're very contradictory on everything they say over at the FDA, the USDA, everybody else like that. Anything food and health and government related. But I can guarantee you that the next step is, the reason they're going to be testing is so they can then mandate this bird flu vaccine, which probably has some other stuff in it. Think of previous vaccines the last couple of years, probably going to have that in it. And the stuff that they're feeding the cows to make them not fart, what is that going to do to us? They say it doesn't affect the milk. It doesn't affect humans. It doesn't whatever else. But if bird flu isn't supposed to affect humans, then why would we need to test the milk for it? So many questions that I've always had about these things. If a bird gets bird flu and they've always said that it didn't affect humans, you don't eat chicken raw. You cook the chicken to 160 degrees or above. And guess what happens? It kills any kind of bacteria, any kind of anything that's in there. Why did we need to kill all the chickens if all we had to do was cook them little mofos and be perfectly fine? Again, they're coming after our food supply. That's all I'm going to say, because that is what this comes down to. It is a push to either raise prices on stuff, to push whatever drugs they want into the animals to get into your system, to push you towards the fake meat, because we already know that the fake meat was approved by the FDA, the fake chicken that's made from chicken cells. The whole thing is ridiculous. We talked about this last July. Just ridiculous amounts of things happening to our food. And I'm thinking to myself, come on, January 20th, come on, RFK Jr. RFK Jr., please get in here and stop this madness before it is too late, because it is getting absolutely redonkulous. That's that. There is, how long have we been doing this? 36 minutes? We can keep going. We're fine. This other thing I want to show you is, where did it go? So somebody posted that there's a possible match for the United Healthcare CEO assassin identified. Do you recognize this person? I just want to show you this picture. They put this picture up saying that this was the person they're saying this person, all right, they're saying this person is this person. I can see the resemblance. I'm not even going to lie. Like, whatever. I still think this is a girl though. But here's the problem. This person that is posting that, it is a picture of this guy here, who is huge over on X. What's his name? Joey Manarino. And Joey Manarino says, hey, you're posting this, but you could get me killed, because if they think that that's really him and the police go after him, I just lost the whole thread. I had it. And the police go after him, what happens? He goes, how is this allowed? This can get me killed. Like, I can see how that could be an issue. They are now saying that this person, I didn't save it. I don't think I saved it. But they're saying that this person that they're saying is the assassin of Brian Thompson. They're saying that that person took a bus from Atlanta to New York City. Okay. They said that that person, they have video footage or surveillance of like 10 days ahead. They were in New York, I think they said, for 10 days. I'm trying to remember correctly here. I will apologize if I'm wrong later. But from what I remember, it said that for 10 days, they were in New York City. They took a bus from Atlanta to New York. They have video surveillance from the bus depots and along the way. And it's like, all right, so you have these pictures. They're now saying they have DNA of this person. You're telling me that you were able to track this person from Atlanta to New York City on a bus, but you don't have a name yet? But you were able to keep second by second count of how many people got sick or died from C-19, but you can't figure out who this person is, even though you have video surveillance and DNA of the person? Okay, all of that makes sense right now. All of it, just every single bit. Believe all of it. Yep. So there's that. That's that. We've talked about this. I'm going to save these other ones for a video tomorrow, because I think these are important, but I want to do it tomorrow, not today. I'm trying to make sure I have everything here. Oh, Tim Walz has come out now and says he was surprised he and Kamala lost to Trump. He says, I was a little surprised. I thought we had a positive message and I thought the country was ready for that. Turns out incessantly calling Trump a dictator was not a positive message. It's absolutely crazy to me that Tim Walz thought that people wanted what he and Kamala were peddling as the next president and vice president. Let's see if this will play.
Like at the rallies, at the things I was going to, the shops I was going in, that the momentum was going our way. And it obviously wasn't at the end of the time. So yeah, I was a little surprised. I thought we had a positive message, and I thought the country was ready for that. Like at the
Sir, your positive message was to call Republicans trash, to say that Donald Trump was a Hitler wannabe and all other kinds of horrific things, to try to assassinate him, number one. And then the positive message was that, according to them, the positive message was that if you're not transgender or some letter of an alphabet, that you're not okay and you're not normal, because now LGBTQIA plus whatever is considered the new norm, and real masculine men also wear panties and think they're women. That was what they were pushing. So not really surprised they lost. Not really surprised they lost. If I were to walk out in the streets and just pay attention to everybody, I'm in a very touristy spot, right? When tourists come to this area, they come here for the beach. They don't care if they're Republican or Democrat. They don't care if we're Republican or Democrat. It doesn't really matter to them. They want to go to the beach, right? So when I walk out and I see a bunch of people, I'm still noticing to this very day that most people look normal and sane. And sane, not insane. It doesn't mean they're not. It doesn't mean the dude isn't wearing, his wife's thong under his pants. Maybe that's a sexual thing, but it doesn't mean that he thinks he's a chick, right? I have yet to run across a full-on transgender person in my day-to-day life. Yet the Kamala Harris, Tim Walz campaign ran on that being what the majority of the United States was transgender or identity confused or gender confused or some sort of rainbow character or whatever else. And that was just the most idiotic thing. They also ran on the fact that everybody wanted abortions. Abortion for you, everybody gets an abortion. Like that was what they ran on. And it's like they have no clue what the actual people of the United States want or what's important to them. So again, I'm not surprised that they did not win. It turns out there are more sane people out there than mainstream media would have you believe. Thankfully. Last thing I'm going to do, only because we talked about it yesterday. Remember how yesterday I talked shit about, generally I talk shit all day long, but I talked a lot of crap about Kamala Harris, and I think it was yesterday, and how she paid a butt ton of money to have the Call Her Daddy podcast set built in maybe Houston. I don't remember what city it was in. But now, y'all, listen. I want you to hear this. This is the chick from Call Her Daddy. She's pretty. Whatever. Doesn't matter. I want you to hear what she has to say. Listen.
There's a little bit of controversy about that podcast because you did.
Oh.
Do you know about this?
No, what?
Because in D.C., this interview happened in D.C.
Yeah.
In a hotel.
Yeah. Not in a hotel. It was like a random house.
It was like random house. But apparently, you can tell me, they spent, the Harris campaign spent like $100,000.
I did see
you
that.
know about this?
It's hilarious.
To build the studio.
Yeah, it's not true.
Not true, to make it look like it was the studio that you used in LA.
My studio that is gorgeous in Los Angeles doesn't even cost six figures. So I don't know how cardboard walls could cost six figures, but.
But do you think they did that? I mean, you saw
Absolutely not. With love to them. Oh my God, it was gorgeous, but like, it wasn't that nice. It wasn't like gorgeous marble. Like, no, that was not six figures.
So here's what I get from that. It was not six figures, yet they spent six figures on it. So where did that money go? Same question we've been asking. How did that woman blow through $1 billion in less than 3 months and still come out the other end owing over $20 million? It's a very simple question that nobody on the left can answer. Nobody in the Kamala Harris campaign can answer. Nobody in Joe Biden's little realm of whatever can answer. Nobody can answer how she blew through $1 billion. You know why? Because it's all in their pockets. Like, that's how they went through $1 billion. It's in their pockets because the math ain't mathin', plain and simple. It does not make sense at all how you could go through that kind of money. And I told you guys before, I was in construction life. That was what I was. My husband and I were in construction for the longest time before we left corporate America and owning our own business and stuff, right? And we talked here before about the bids. It's going to cost you, $5 to do it for labor, $5 for the product, and $5 for whatever, but you put the bid in at 100,000 because you tell the person who's the procurement office, whoever's going to approve the bid, hey, I'll give you a little piece of this action if you put my bid through, if you let me win this thing. So now you've spent $100,000, right? And you got paid $100,000, but it only cost you $15 to do it. But then you just kind of split that money up, put it in your pockets, and go about your day like nothing ever happened. And that's what Kamala Harris did with that $1 billion. I can guarantee it. I guarantee it that everybody's got a lined pocket right now. So that's that. Okay, Squirrel Tribe. There's a lot more we could do, but I'm gonna let you go. So we'll do more tomorrow. Maybe another video today. We'll definitely live stream. Wait, tomorrow's Saturday, right? Yeah, we'll live stream in the morning. It'll probably be early though. That way I can go hang out with the family and stuff. And I think that's all I got. Tomorrow's gonna be kind of randomer than today, but it'll be fun, I promise. It'll be interesting stuff that we'll talk about. So y'all have a fabulous rest of your Friday. I love you all immensely. And that's it. Goodbye. Maybe. There we go.